Welcome to Sharing My Truth with Mel and Suzie, the uncensored version, where we bear it all.
We do.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sharing My Truth Pod. You're here with Mel and Suzie, and we are so excited that you have joined us today. Thank you so much for listening. We love ya. And here's a quick little friendly reminder to follow us on all of our socials at Sharing My Truth Pod, where you can DM us. You can watch all of our stuff there if you want a little clips of our little episodes on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Okay. And also, if you want to go to sharingmytruth.com, you can also chat with us. You can email us. You can actually send us a real voicemail, and you may even be on the pod. Hey, babes.
Hello, I'm having some trouble with my mic.
Yeah, you are.
I moved it and that's fatal.
Just looks like a metal little penis.
It does a bit.
So just
doesn't it?
handle it like you would.
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling.
Okay, we're getting there.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. All right, there we go. Oh, nope.
It's one of those, that curve, you know?
Yes.
You have to kind of curve with it.
Yeah, thanks, Suzie.
That's my advice for the day.
Okay, excellent.
We're going to start this series of episodes. This is going to be part 1, and we're going to do some red flag and green flag dating things and relationship icks and whatever, because I feel like a lot of people have very strong opinions of what is a red flag and what is a green flag, because it is so different for so many people, and especially for men and women, as to what is actually a red flag and what is a green flag, and even a yellow flag. You know, like, really, does that even matter? Like, why are we even...
A yellow flag?
Yeah, so, like, it's like, yeah, maybe, like, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
You can be in the middle if you want to be.
Yeah, I
okay?
thought about a yellow flag, yeah.
Oh, really? So, we're going to speak through 5 today. And if you guys have any of your red flags or green flags that you guys are passionate about, let us know, because we'll talk about them on the pod too. But let's start it out. And this is a big red flag for me. Okay. I'll just point it out there.
Go on.
If somebody, either before you go on the date with them or while, like, if you're on the date with them or you're about to fuck them, someone asks about your body count, I hate that term as well. If someone asks how many people you've slept with, like, they care, like it's a decision maker in their mind of if they're gonna fuck you, and it's like, you should be lucky enough to fuck me anyways, whatever.
Right.
Thank you very much. But that's a big red flag for me.
Yes.
What do you think about it?
Obviously not a question that comes up for me very often in my life.
It's possible.
But I just feel in the modern world, it just seems, I don't really understand why it's relevant, because everyone's sleeping around. I mean, like, men and women. So, because I often feel this question seems to be asked a lot about women.
Yeah.
And I know it's like a big thing for like certain male communities, you know, the sort of extreme ones that have a problem with it. And why is it okay for men to sleep around and not for women? That's the thing I don't really understand. And hello, who do you think the men are sleeping with? Women. So if the men...
Maybe not.
Well, that's true. But if the men are sleeping around, they're sleeping with women, everyone.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why it's relevant. I do think if it is a thing for you, maybe you should get it out of the way very early on.
Don't you want someone who is experienced in pleasuring?
Yeah,
if you're going to sleep with someone?
Yeah, I mean, I would think, yeah, if you're a sort of evolved human being.
It's like you're going to the doctor. You want that doctor to be a first-year res?
Yes.
Or you want them to be a very experienced surgeon? Who do you want to be speaking to?
Yeah.
Who do you want inside your body?
Wow.
And that's someone who has experience.
Wow.
But obviously, just because you have experience doesn't mean you haven't been, like, safe.
Yeah.
With condoms and whatever. It doesn't mean that you haven't been safe, you know?
Is that what the question's about, though? So
I don't think so. I think it's literally like men think that if you fuck a lot, if women fuck a lot, then you're going to be loose, which I also hate that goddamn term so much, because that is not what happens.
I've heard that so many times.
It's the uneducation of our sex education system. Like, it's so obnoxious.
Exactly. And the men who are saying it, FYI, you are highlighting the fact that you haven't.
Oh my God.
Because it's look it up on Google. Google it. It's a myth.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It is very elastic and it goes back.
Well, it's like you could just...
It's like, only childbirth.
You want to fuck her in the ass? Like, go ahead. But like,
well, yeah,
it's just that. Like, you want to go fuck men then if you hate women so much, right?
Well, yeah, it's a ridiculous comment. It is not true. Like I said, go Google it. It is an urban myth. The only way that, and it's a revolting thing to say that women can become loose is after childbirth.
Right.
That is it.
Because
And
obviously there's a lot of things you're pushing out a watermelon, people.
yeah, you try do it. It's not fun. And my babies came out my stomach. Not
Yeah, that's
not through
horrible
choice.
too.
That wasn't fun either. But it's a stupid thing to say, so I don't know what it is about this body count thing. I think there's this obviously misogynistic element that men think that women are modern women are sleeping around too much,
Right.
are too loose, are too slutty basically.
Mhm.
But I just don't really understand, why is it okay for you to be sleeping around and on Hinge and Tinder and all the rest of it, and the women aren't? Because who do you think you're going out with? So I find it very bizarre. How does it come up in conversation?
I have no idea. I would never even usually I go out with older people, as in like late 30s to 50-ish. And like those people, I've never ever had that conversation. I think it is a conversation. The only time I think you should be talking about it is like if you're just curious about the other person,
Yeah.
and if they're willing to give up that information, and you're talking about sex, and you're having a educational and like respectful conversation about sex and your experiences, then sure, you can talk about, like, I'll give that like my 2 cents about that in 2 seconds if I'm talking to the right person about it. But if someone's coming at it from a judgmental question, then I'm not gonna
Yeah,
be
I
okay
mean,
with that.
I really think that if that is an issue for you, then obviously both parties should walk away.
Right.
And I think it's a very odd question. We're not in the Middle Ages.
We're not in the Middle Ages, and also like
And
if you're dating women
Yeah.
who are in their 20s,
yeah. What do you think they've been doing?
I'm sorry.
Playing Monopoly,
Like, do you
Yeah.
want to fuck someone younger than
Yeah,
that?
well-
That's a red flag for me
Well,
too.
Of course. I mean, it's a stupid thing. If somebody is of a certain age, i.e. they're not, you're not very, very, very young,
Yeah.
then obviously they have a past. It's a ridiculous
Yeah.
question. But some people get very hung up about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I really don't. I personally don't think it's anybody's business. I mean, I don't know, when does the question come about, have you had any checks or whatever? Like, have you had,
Oh.
when do you have that conversation?
I don't think it matters
Do
if
you
they
ever have that?
have had. No, yeah. So, like, if they have had ones and they don't have them right now, I don't think that's a question before you have sex. But I
No.
think I always ask if I'm sleeping with someone new, like, when's the last time you were tested?
Oh, really?
Always, before I sleep with them.
But how do you know whether they're telling the truth?
Well, you don't, but you
Okay.
use a condom anyways.
Right, okay.
So
So you do have that conversation?
always, but it's mostly just like it's a question.
Okay.
It's not like I'm judging you, like, tell me about your fucking whole health history.
Mhm.
It's more just like, hey, when's the last time you've been tested? I want to suck your dick.
Wow.
And
And you put it like that, do you?
I try to keep it fun and light, but
Nice.
it's more just like you obviously have to be safe for yourself.
Yeah.
You can also hopefully tell if someone's lying, maybe, about it, like about the last time they've been tested.
I guess. I don't know.
Who knows? Obviously have a condom available if you are looking to actually sleep with that person. But I think it's mostly just like, be honest and also get tested regularly if you are sleeping with
Yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
And,
I think that's-
if you have had like gonorrhea in the past, which is something that is able to be just taken care of with medication, then you obviously don't have to tell them then if you don't have it. But if you have something that is serious, and you should,
Oh my God, yeah.
like, you should tell that person, obviously, that could affect their entire life.
That's awful
And
if you don't.
Also, that's also a red flag if, like, you're not, like, telling them up front, being like, hey, I just want to let you know this is what's going on. Don't worry, I'm taking care of it, or something like that, and not just like passing it around.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, yeah.
This is the things you have to worry about now, Mel. Aren't you
Yeah.
so happy that you're not in the dating game?
Oh my God, I'm so happy. And I'm not sure I could ever be bothered to go back into it if I ever had to.
Oh
I mean,
my
I'd be
God.
like 105 anyway. But I mean, it just seems so complicated.
I just don't think it's not like STDs or STIs are not a shameful thing. I think
No, I
there's
think-
just a part of life. And if you are sleeping with people, then you have to take that risk. It's just like getting pregnant.
Well,
You have to take on that risk.
yeah, and you have to be accountable if something goes wrong.
You have to be
that's
accountable.
life. Yeah. If you're an adult, like behave like an adult.
Exactly.
You know,
You want to have sex, there's consequences
Yeah.
to your actions,
I agree.
as an adult
Very
would
good.
say.
Very good.
Okay, second one. I'll ask you.
Okay,
Mel.
go on then.
If they don't have a driver's license, and let's say they're like 20, obviously up your alley.
A man, a boy.
A man or a woman,
Well,
or either. Is it a red flag for one, not the other?
20 is quite young. So a lot of kids today, because of like COVID, and especially in Canada, you have all the levels.
Right.
So some of them are a bit late.
Right.
And
Okay, let's say they're 30.
yeah, 20, because a lot of them are doing like their G and stuff when they're 20. 30, I think there's a problem.
Right.
I particularly, and I know this is pretty sexist, to be honest with you, is it's weird.
Right.
I mean, if you're a man and you don't have a driving license, it's odd.
So it's a very interesting thing because I'm from Alberta.
Yeah.
And
well, you have to drive.
You have to drive. So at 16, well, at 14, you can get your learners, and at 16, you get your license.
14.
At 14, you get your learners. You can't drive on your own, but that just means you can drive with a parent or
Can
whoever.
you drive at 16?
You can drive at 16.
Did
fully.
you get your license at 16?
Yes, because there's nothing, you can't do anything else unless you can drive.
Jesus.
So I was driving since I've been 16, but that's what everyone does. If you're in a place where there's no public transit and you like, how else are you going to get around? You have to bus, like disgusting. For like, it's the worst. And it's freezing out. So it's like, if you don't have a car, you can't really do anything. I didn't grow up with Uber.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
But here, I can see why people don't get their license.
Yeah.
If the public transit is good, you live downtown.
I think there's a difference between not having a license and having a car. When you live in I know a lot of people who live in New York. And even now it's becoming a trend in London who don't own a car for several reasons. It is incredibly expensive. It is not just the purchase of the car. Insurance is insane because of everything gets stolen all the time.
Oh my God.
And then, I was recently in New York. They seem to have a congestion charge. There's a congestion charge in London. When you drive into the center, they charge you money.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and you just don't need a car to drive in the center of, the city. Obviously, you need a car when you're grocery store and stuff like that. But it's very easy in a city like London, depending where you live, and particularly like New York, to not need a car. I mean, you can get everything delivered. You can't drive anywhere anyway in New York or London. The traffic is horrendous. So I do understand that. And kids, I grew up for a certain part of my life, or I always grew up. I was always living in cities, wherever it was. So I did not need a car. And I actually learned to drive quite late because I didn't need a car. I lived in London, and I lived in Rome, and I lived in Paris. You do not need a car. The transport is amazing.
Right.
And then, anytime you're going to go out at night, well, you're going to drink or whatever, you're not going to drive.
Yeah.
I know that in certain parts of Canada and the US, that becomes all a little, loosey-goosey, and people are drinking. And it's the same in like rural parts of England. People are, drinking and driving, and they shouldn't be, and whatever. But I think if you're like 30 or something and you haven't, I think it's a bit different early 20s, especially today, because also you go to university, most university towns, you don't need a car, and it's just so expensive. And it's not just the car, it's the insurance.
But then if you don't have a driver's license,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's like that license is freedom. Right? Like, you need to rent a car if you're 25 or whatever, then you can do it. If you need to get a car because of your new job, then you can do it. Like, if you don't have a license, I feel like you're just so you don't have as much choice.
No, you
freedom
need to,
as an adult.
You need to do it. Like, you need to get a license.
Just the license.
And the
you don't
problem
need a
is,
car.
The problem is if you leave it. I mean, I think
If you leave it, then you're like, oh, now I'm like, when am I going to do
then
it?
It just gets harder and harder and harder. And I think if you're sort of like 30 and you haven't got the driving license, you really should go and get one. Even if you don't intend to drive, like, like you said, if you're away on vacation or anything, like it becomes tricky, right? But I think we will see less and less people with licenses, because the other thing to consider, and this is very boring and really off topic, is that it's so expensive to even get your driving license.
Is it?
Oh my God. Like in Toronto, a lesson is about $100 an hour. Then
do you have to take lessons here?
You don't
Or is it just better for the
you don't have to,
insurance?
but think about it this way. Like your parents and you have a very nice car. You're not like the
Right.
kids are not learning in your car.
Got it.
They're like going to learn in that
Driving
car.
lesson car.
And then they charge you for the driving test. They charge you for
Yeah, no, I know.
and
That's
it just
what's
goes
crazy.
on and on and on. And then the driving test I think is like $90.
Right.
So I mean that's the reason why a lot of people don't do it. It's
Yeah.
just and then they're like, well, I don't need a car, so why am I doing it?
Yeah.
And then if you're going to live in a city, and even a city like Toronto, you can get around everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's if you Uber, it's cheaper. Anyway, that's enough about cars, but yeah, it's true.
So try to get your license, guys.
I think
Because
it
it
is
could be a
flag.
big red flag for people.
I think so.
I think it's a red
and
flag. If you don't have your license.
And in North America, it's weird. Like everyone
Yeah, you need to drive.
Everyone drives. Yeah.
And then you can start an Uber career if you want. Just make money.
Yeah, very good.
Okay, this is a bit of a controversial one.
Go on then.
And
Like-
it's specific to one of the genders.
Oh.
Okay. If men love their moms too much,
Yeah.
is that a red flag?
Do you want me to answer?
Of course.
Okay. So I think it's great if a man loves his mum, and specifically men who are good to their parents. It's very appealing.
So hot.
If they're like kind and nice and take their time even when they don't have time, I think it's really nice. But I think if you are like a little bit too close, or you're like sort of a 30 or 35-year-old man and you're on the phone all the time to your mum, it's a bit weird. And if you are sort of continuously taking her advice, and then when you're in a relationship, she cannot be more important than the woman. The woman
Right.
is the most important. Always. The mother is never. I'm sorry. I mean, if I had boys, I'd have to accept that.
Right.
The girl, your wife, trumps the mother. You are on a path of death and destruction if you go the other way.
Right.
It's just not a good plan.
Yeah, no, I think it's weird because it's like when does it get too far, right? And it's like
Yeah.
I've always been like I love my family.
Mm.
I've always been like close-ish,
Mhm.
but we don't have like a group, or we do have a group chat, but like, you know what I mean? Like there's just like we don't talk every day. That's for sure. I'm 29 years old and I'm a woman and I've lived like away from the family for a really long time.
Mm.
I don't talk to my family every day. I definitely don't
Yeah.
talk to I probably talk to them maybe once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a guy that I was dating was talking to his mom every day, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
It just seems like you can't like figure things out for yourself.
Yeah,
still?
I think it's sort of. I mean, obviously there are situations where people have family businesses and stuff like that, but I think
Yeah, that's totally different.
yeah.
I think it's like if it's business, I get that, but if it's like, "Mommy, how are
yeah,
you?"
exactly,
and,
and it's super personal.
"What
Like,
did you do
I've-
today?" and
yeah.
it's like non.
Or the other thing, if the mother is super critical of the girl,
Right.
or even very early on and sort of it's very concerning.
You have to have real family boundaries,
yeah, and
especially when you're in a relationship.
Mum should know to butt out. But you basically don't want to marry too much or be involved with too much of a mama's boy,
Right.
because it's a bit. Because I think if the boy, the man, whatever, needs to be looked after by his mother, it's not a good sign for you, is it?
No, it's not. See, that's the problem, right?
It's a really
Like,
bad sign. If I like I obviously, I have to go back to personal experience, but my husband is very good with his parents. He's
Mhm.
great with them. He does so much for them, but he's not a mama's boy
Right.
at all. He's very capable and has never been a mama's boy. And so that's very appealing. It's like, because you think, oh my gosh, that man's so good
Mhm.
at looking after the parents or older, and then they're obviously aging now. It's like, wow, then he's going to be very good
Yeah.
with me. And I think that's what a lot of women and also men see. Like, if you're good generally with those relationships
Yeah.
with limits, it's appealing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just having those healthy boundaries
Yeah.
so that you can move on
Yeah.
with your life and like make sure that they're not going to be like totally devastated if you just like go on a trip or something like that, or like
Exactly.
all of these normal things that should happen in your adult life. And
Exactly. I mean,
yeah.
there's a point, like, my girls aren't quite there yet, but there's a point where they don't have to be telling you when they're going out. I mean, obviously, like, even when they go from high school and move to university,
Right.
I don't know where they are or when they're going out, but I know people are a bit nuts about that. You're
Yeah.
like,
People have become a lot more nuts.
that's ridiculous. You can't worry about it. They live in a different city.
So red flag?
Yeah,
Red
it's a
flag.
red flag.
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's Mel's said it. Okay, next one.
Mm.
If people, let's say men or women,
Mm.
if they don't have a life plan,
Mm.
I think this depends on how old they are. Because honestly, like, I have a mental plan of like how I want my life to look, but do I have a plan of all the steps that I'm going to take to get there?
Yeah, no,
Not particularly.
no, I don't think you're going to have that when you're very young, but I think you have a sense of direction.
Right.
So, I think like if you're like dating a woman or a man, and let's say they're young, like 25 or whatever, 24, and they even at that point just can't get their shit together.
Right.
I think that they can ultimately get the shit together, and that's pretty cool if they do that. But if they're sort of like they've dropped out of school and they're just like, I'm just gonna live at home and
Right.
do whatever, like, okay, drop out of school, but go and do something. I mean,
Yeah.
by the way, either of my children cannot drop out of school, so but it's like, but have a plan.
Right.
I appreciate that, let's say post-secondary education, going to university is not for everyone.
Mhm.
But have a plan. Do something constructive and interesting with your time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. Obviously, you have no idea at 20. Life has a habit of doing that. You sort of have a plan, and you think you're going here, and you end up here.
Totally.
But that's fine. That's completely fine. As long as you have a direction that you're going in.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So the people with no direction,
It's
we're
concerning.
just like,
Yeah.
chill, let it happen, figure it out.
I think, yeah.
Even though they won't figure it out.
No, I tell you what the red flag would be for me is no sense of urgency about life and
Oh,
time.
The sense of urgency.
It bothers me a lot
Right.
in people or situations when people have no sense of urgency.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's get on with it. And that's what it is. It's not, you obviously don't know exactly what the steps are.
Mhm.
You want to get to this point in your life and you maybe want these things or whatever. You could be fairly clueless at 20, like, how the hell am I going to get there?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I understand that. But having some direction,
yeah.
and I truly think you want to try and meet somebody who wants to go in the same direction and is aiming for the same things. Like if you, for example, want to live in a nice house
Mhm.
in Rosedale and the guy you meet wants to live in a van and drive around California or whatever.
Right. Nothing wrong with either of those.
Absolutely nothing wrong with either of them. You are probably not going to last.
No.
So maybe if you want to live a life in a van,
Mhm.
and I say this because I've been watching
like-
TikToks about this couple that live in a van.
No, I can't with
And I'm just like, I'm obsessed.
that. Actually stresses me out.
It stresses me
I
out.
watch them
Where
and
do
I'm
they
like,
go to the toilet?
this is psychotic.
It bothers me. Like, where's the toilet? Where's the bath? Where's the shower? It really bothers me. I get very bothered by, although I'm actually super impressed by their ability.
No, I'm so impressed, but
live.
I'm also just like the anxiety that
Yeah.
this gives me. Like,
It makes me anxious. Yeah, just like where do you sit? Where do you read? Where do you watch TV? It gives me anxiety, although impressive that they can do it. But that's the point.
So
if you
funny.
both want to live in a van,
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
And you both want to travel, you're both not materialistic, great. But if you're materialistic, for example, and want certain kind of, I guess, financial milestones,
Yeah.
and you're with somebody that doesn't, there will be disaster along the way because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
You've got to have some kind of similar values going in some kind of
Right.
similar direction. You don't have to like everything the same,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to be going in the same.
Somewhat direction.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Careers are hard. Like, I've been through probably 5 since I've met you.
Which is fine.
No,
but
it's honestly
at least
good.
you've
Like,
had them.
you have to do things to figure out what you don't like.
100%,
And so if you
100%.
don't like, if there's 20-somethings-year-olds or even 30-something-year-olds or whoever, maybe you're in your 50s and you're still like, I don't actually like my career. I'm going to pivot. It's great to pivot.
Yeah.
But just do that with
But do
another
it.
sense of like happiness, excitement, passion.
Yeah, but also just do it. Dust yourself off. Go, okay, that didn't work. Let's do this.
Fuck yeah.
And I admire that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with reinvent yourself as many times as you like.
So yeah, someone doesn't have direction. That's a red flag. But
Yeah.
if someone's pivoting and they
That's
have
fine.
they have an enthusiasm for life, that's a green flag.
Oh, 100%.
We don't have any green flags on our list, I guess.
I love
eh?
a bit of enthusiasm. No, we don't. Do. Bit
Okay,
negative.
so I mean, here's the thing, and this could go both ways.
Oh, really?
Men
Mm.
who are good with their hands, as in
Oh, right. You don't mean...
their handiness around the house.
Yeah, I think huge green flag. I
Yes.
think it's really good thing because it says a lot about that
Yeah.
guy. And I don't mean like he's able to like rework the plumbing.
Oh my God.
I mean, some men are amazing. They can like, oh, I don't like this bathroom, and then you come back 2 days later and they've redone it.
One of the
I
biggest
don't
things
have
that I miss
but-
about my ex, because he was extremely handy,
Yeah,
is just the way that I would just ask him to do something and it would just be he could do it. And I'm
Yes.
like, I would never have to fucking figure something out. I'd never have to build anything.
I've never built
Oh
anything
my
in my
God,
life.
but now I have to
Susie.
build things.
I've
Now I have to hang stuff.
I've never
It sucks, Mel.
I've never hung a picture. I've never wired a plug, which is terrible. They're more complicated in England. Never.
There's a
done one.
light bulb in my kitchen I have to redo.
I've never done that.
I'm gonna have to
either.
do that. I don't even know how to do that.
I don't do that. I've never done that. He knows how to fix everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if Max can't do it, he'll just YouTube it and he'll figure it out. Because he can't stand it.
Yeah.
If he can't do it, he's got to figure
Right.
it out. So he'll figure it out. I mean, he can't like redo the bathroom. He has limits, but that's fine. Like if there's something
Yeah.
wrong, he can fix it. Whereas I know men who are like,
Useless.
completely useless. Like, they'd have to hire somebody to put a blind up or to change a light bulb or something's fallen off something.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure it out. And that's actually, as a woman, again, very traditional, but super stressful. Because I'm just like, well, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So how do we do it?
Yeah.
And so, no, I feel really good, like, about that. Like, my husband's super handy and he can fix pretty much everything.
Oh, that's good.
And if he doesn't know how to do it, then he figures it out, or obviously he tells me to call
No,
somebody
it's
else.
so hot.
But,
It's so hot if
it-
someone,
it's
if a guy
really-
can absolutely like,
He's in control.
and he can, and it's done well.
Yes. Yes.
The worst thing is though when you've asked a man to do something and you know he can do it,
Yes.
but he takes his fucking time doing it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be a nag.
Oh, I'm happy to be a nag.
But that's the thing. I'm like, I don't want to nag you
I'm
when
strategic.
I'm asking you something.
You have to be
just fucking do
strategic
it.
about your nagging, though.
Like,
That's
I'll
the
suck your
thing.
dick if you do this.
Well, that probably helps, yeah. But I just think you can't go. You have to kind of think about when you're going to ask again.
Right.
You can't like endlessly be, a sort of horrible old woman and just keep going on and on about it. You
Yeah.
have to like think about when you can't like he's got all this stuff to do and you're going to go on about the fucking picture.
Right.
You got to time it. Timing is everything in a relationship, Susie. Timing when you say things, do things, is
Yeah.
everything for men and women.
It's a little bit of manipulation.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Be conscious of it. Yeah.
Well, I agree, darling. Like, you got to have a handyman, and especially with his, and the other places too.
It's very helpful.
It's very helpful if he's
even-
handy with his hands and the other parts as well.
Even as old, as old as you get, you could be 95 and it's still helpful.
I love a man who's good with his hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a must.
It's a must, boys.
On
So
that
get it
list.
together. If you just like figure out how to use a drill, it's hot.
It is. I
Just
think
have
it
a
is.
drill around the house.
Yes.
Just make her think that you're doing something with that drill. And she's going to want to drill you later, I promise.
Don't leave the jobs. It is actually really annoying if you say
if
you're
it's
gonna,
half done or something.
Yeah.
Oh
or
my
you say
God.
you say you're going to do something and 6 months it's still not
No,
done.
yeah, that's
It's
awful.
infuriating. Yeah.
So yeah, just stick to your word. That's a green flag.
Stick to it. Is.
That's a green
It's a
flag.
big green flag. Do what you say you're going to do. And FYI, if you can't do it, please own up very quickly.
Seriously, because
So-
no one likes to. If you have something that looks like shit, like if the fridge is broken and you're
Yeah.
like, I gotta fix
Yeah.
it, and you don't, and
Yeah.
then you got spoiled milk the next day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you just wasted everyone's time.
You did.
Own up.
Own up. Yeah.
Well, if you guys have any other green flags or red flags you guys want us to talk about, we'd love to chat with you about it. You can always go to Share My Truth Pod where you can DM us your ideas. And you can also go to sharemytruth.com where you can email us or voicemail us. And then we'll catch you next time.
We will.
Thanks. Bye.
Sharing My Truth Pod is so excited to partner with Vibrator.com, where the A in vibrator is the number 8. This is an extremely exclusive code where no other podcast has it. If you go to Vibrator.com right now, use the code MS15, that's MS15 at Vibrator.com. You can now get 15% off anything in store. That's any sex toys for you, your partner, your neighbor, your mom. We don't judge. We don't care. Get it now. Go to the link in our bio, put in the code, and get jiggy with it.
Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast and follow us on social at Sharing My Truth Pod, and leave us a voicemail on our website at sharingmytruth.com to share your stories and experiences with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.